Hey guys, how's it going? So today is going to be a fun show because I have to do very minimal amount of work today, which is always good. We are going to be turning this floor here into a dance club, which means I need to clear the house drum kit off the stage and the microphone stands because the DJ is going to go up on the drum riser. For anyone who has ever lived in the northern New Jersey area or has lived in the greater Newark area, you know of the club QXT's. It is a alternative / gothic nightclub that also is a music venue, but they are known for having DJs that play 80s and 90s alternative music. And as a former club goer myself after high school, I loved the alternative / gothic nightclub scene. So a few of those DJs are coming here tonight who play at QXT's, the former Loop Lounge up here as well. Those DJs who played all those clubs are coming here tonight to play some music. So what we got to do with the drums here is basically just clear off the drum riser. I'm going to wind up the cables. The stage is reset the way it should be from the shows. So I need to clear the stage so there is a clear space for the DJs to put their rigs. And since I don't know how many DJs are going to be here tonight, I'm going to assume that there are maybe one or two. The main DJ is going to be here, and I'm going to have another DJ set up over there if need be. Or they could just all share a rig tonight. I honestly don't know the tech details for tonight, but it's really going to be just plugging in a couple DJ rigs directly into the box, and I'm going to be a glorified master fader operator tonight. So I'm very much looking forward to having an easy night, and since this will be a pretty short video, I figured I can answer the most asked questions that you guys are leaving me in the comment section on my videos. So the number one question that I am being asked by you guys in my comment sections is, where did I go to college and what is my educational background to get a job doing this? I did and I did not go to college for this. I graduated high school in 2004 and I went to the County College of Morris in Randolph, New Jersey from 2005 to roughly 2006. And there I got involved with the radio station there. Now, by radio station at CCM is basically we were nothing more than glorified PA speakers playing over the campus cafeteria, but still, we treated it as a radio station. I was involved with the radio station, doing my music show, doing a couple talk shows with people, because my background was I wanted to be in broadcasting. I grew up listening to Howard Stern and Opie and Anthony. I interned for Opie and Anthony for one semester, and it was a fun experience. But I wanted to be in broadcasting. I thought I wanted to be on the air. But I realized very quickly that I was more suited for behind the scenes as a producer in radio more than on the air. So I switched my focus to being a producer, and I produced, hosted, and collaborated with several podcasters for years after that. But at the radio station, I met someone who would eventually become one of my really good friends, and you actually met him yourselves in my previous video, my buddy Spencer from his band Menace and the Hellfire. He was in a glam rock type of band. Spencer and his old band came into the studio for an interview, and during the interview, he asked me if I could record his band's upcoming demo. And to quote the great philosopher Jeremy Clarkson, I may have uttered the words, "How hard can it be?" Turns out recording audio is extremely hard, and something that I really don't recommend doing unless you are prepared to suck for quite some time and feel absolutely crap about yourselves. But nevertheless, I got the hang of it. I practiced, I worked my ass off, and I got somewhat pretty decent at it. And that's how I got into audio. So after working on my skills, doing podcasting, hustling, and doing anything I can do in pro audio to get to broadcasting. I went back to school at Bergen County College in 2012, and I went there for a applied sciences in music tech. Basically, the program teaches you how to run and operate a recording studio. Now, I'm already 5 to 6 years in the middle of doing pro audio, so I knew a lot of the basics, and I mainly went back to school to get the internship connection to work at SiriusXM. And sure enough, I got my associates. And to be fair with school, I did learn a couple of things that I didn't think I would learn. I learned a couple of key skill sets, and I collaborated with a lot of people who became friends over the years. So I wouldn't say that going to college was a waste of time, but as far as getting a education, to be honest, I learned way more by doing than I ever did in school. I learned by screwing up, I learned by doing things incorrectly, and I learned by bands telling me that I am a no good waste of space that should just kill himself. Yeah, it's harsh, but that's the way things go sometimes. I learned my trade, I learned what I need to do, and eventually I got good enough where bands sought me out to record them. And I worked with a lot of bands over the years, and I learned enough skills where I could be competent enough recording a band either in my home studio or at a pro studio. The second most asked question that I get from you guys is, how did I get the job here? Well, I was recording a band, and the singer just happens to work doors here, and I never thought I would be ever working here. I mean, I always came here for shows, and I loved this place because this place is just, I mean, it's definitely not Carnegie Hall in here, but then again, whoever said music venues had to be palaces? I mean, a lot of big-time local and national touring metal bands come through here all the time. And I've been to enough shows here to know what kind of bands come here and the kind of music that I personally like to listen to. This place showcases it, so I always loved this place. I never thought I'd be working here. And then one day I happened to be recording this band, and the guy revealed to me that he works doors here, and they're looking for a new sound guy. And I'm like, well, that's cool, that's interesting. Sure enough, he put my name in, and I got contacted by this place to come in, try out, meet the head sound tech here. And him and I gelled really well, so he listened to a few of the mixes I did for this band, and he loved it, and he said we would be very happy if you came to work with us. And I said, hell yeah, sure, I'd like that. And that was about, I'd say, almost 2.5, maybe 3 years ago at this point. It's been great. So the third most asked question that I get all the time from you guys in my comment section is, how do I feel about bands bringing their own gear? That's a question that I'm honestly kind of torn on. On one hand, I completely understand why bands want to bring their own gear with them. I mean, I've been to more than enough shows at terrible venues with terrible sound guys and terrible gear to understand why bands love bringing their own gear to shows. I totally understand it. We have a very good house drum kit. We have great sounding amps, and we have, at least right here, competent enough sound guys to where you can trust us to get your performance sounding pretty good in the audience and for you on stage in the monitors. So I'm confident with this venue and our ability to deliver. But in general, if you want to bring your stuff, my personal policy is if you book a show here and you are the headliner, you get free reign to do whatever the hell you want. If you want to come in and sound check, that's fine, but I insist you leave your cabs. Like, let's say a band was coming in here tonight, I would have their cabs all the way back here, and then I'd put my house cabs in front and leave their stuff on stage. If a headliner is bringing their own drum kit, I strongly and almost required, like, I can't insist it enough that the drummer would strike their kit and bring it backstage after sound check, because leaving a drum set here and having me put my house kit over here, it makes it very tight, very uncomfortable, and especially if you have a 5 or 6 piece band that has to deal with drums over there, amps here, amps there, and just a bunch of bodies on stage, it does not go well as far as space goes. I've seen people trip on cabling over here, no matter how much I organize it, no matter how much I tape it down. I see people still trip. I see people get uncomfortable. And after the set, I come up here and the band complains to me that they were uncomfortable up here. And I'm like, I can't magically make the stage bigger here, guys. So if you're a band that brings your own kit here, my personal policy is, if you're the headliner, fine, I don't care, but strike your kit after sound check. If you are a band that brings your own in-ear monitoring rig and your own in-ear systems, first off, I love you, because getting mixes on these monitors here is the bane of my existence. I hate doing monitors. Let me rephrase. I hate doing monitors when the microphones are so close to the drum riser. I mean, just to give you some perspective, I would put my center vocalist here, and like back of my feet are right at the drum riser now. This is like 3.5 feet away from where the microphone would be to where the edge of the cymbals would be. And the mic is right here, so it's literally pointing directly at the cymbals. So in order to get the clarity of the vocals in the monitors here, without getting the cymbals in there, it's next to impossible. So I strongly insist that bands, if you bring your own in-ear rig, please bring your in-ear systems for everybody. I usually put the in-ear systems here, and if you have a split snake that can give me all the patches to my stage box, that's fantastic. The only thing is, if you bring your own in-ear rig, I will ask you guys if we can use your split snake for the entirety of the show, so I can have all my mic cables go to you guys, and then just use that split snake to go to me, because having to disconnect and reconnect all my inputs on the stage box 2 to 3 times a show, I hate doing it. Changeover always takes forever, and there's always a lot of confusion with the other bands. So to summarize, if you are a band that brings all of your own backline, your own gear, your own in-ears, your own mics, I don't really care, but there are some favors I will have to ask of you guys so we can all be on the same page and have a good show. Okay, the stage is pretty much set, ready to go, ready for some DJs to come in, so I gotta bring a table from the back up to here. Another question I'm asked, well, it's not really a question, it's more a comment that I see a lot, is, dude, how do you feel about having my dream job? Do I consider this a dream job? Personally, not really. A dream job would be producing Howard Stern in the morning, or the dream job is what I had at SiriusXM. I was producing a morning talk show about pro wrestling, 2 things that I've loved since I was a little kid. But this is a very cool job. And to answer all those comments, I love this job. I love what I do here. The biggest joy that I can get working here is having a fantastic band come on stage, be professional, kill it on stage, respect the other band's showtime. Don't give me shit throughout the setup process or sound check, or make the night complicated for anybody involved. Those are the best nights. And a simple act of kindness with a band, even just saying to me, learning my name, talking to me, addressing me as Chris and not hey sound guy, little shit like that makes me very, very happy, and will actually make me put more effort into making you guys have a good time up here. But yeah, the best nights here are when bands come up here and have a fantastic show, a fantastic performance. I do a great job behind the console, the audience loves it, the bar makes money, and everyone is just happy. Those are the best nights. And when I get sort of a green band that hasn't really played that much come up here, show some chops that they can actually perform well and they have talent, man, I go above and beyond for those guys because I want them to have a good experience performing live to encourage them to keep playing. Because if I have a talented young band come up here, like for instance, one day I had a School of Rock class come in here, and their final project, more like their final test, was to perform a show. Now, this venue is friends with a lot of local music schools, and we get the students sometimes to make band ensembles. We invite the parents, family, and friends to come here, and these guys put on a show, and those to me are the most fun. They're a little bit tricky because getting inexperienced singers especially to give us performance level projection, even during the performance, but especially during sound check, getting their monitors to sound right and making sure everyone sounds good, that is a very big challenge for us behind a console. But the end result is they do good. The parents are happy, the family's happy. Like I said, the bar makes money, so that's fantastic. But there was one band that came in here and they had a guitar player who had a Line 6 Spider combo amp. The kid was really good on guitar, so when he was doing his thing and he was shredding, he was doing his thing, like they played 3 Tool songs in a row, and the guitar player and the drummer were just in sync with one another. And if you can pull off Tool really good live, you got some serious musician chops. And in case you didn't know, from the giant Lemmy poster here, this is mainly a hard rock and metal club, and we feature a lot of hard rock and metal bands here. They've closed their set with playing Domination by Pantera, and that came out of left field because it takes some balls in this venue to try to pull off Pantera and do it justice, but they did it, and I loved them so much. I got on my stool, I stood up on the stool, and I applauded them and gave them the devil horns and everything. Like, I totally fanboyed out. They killed it. That was probably my favorite show here. But to answer your question after all this, yes, I love my job here. I love what I do, and it's really cool. The final question I get the most on the comment section in my videos is, what can I do to get a job in live sound? In order to break it into any sort of tough business like this, you gotta be determined, you gotta know your shit, you gotta work hard, and you gotta be persistent. And you also gotta have no ego. I got extremely lucky with getting this gig here, but I also had over 12 years of experience working with pro audio and have done live sound before, so fitting in here was completely natural to me. And even I still fuck up today. Like, I know a lot of you people have commented on my videos about how I structure the gain on the board here. I read all the comments that you guys leave, so I have seen the people saying, oh my God, you're peaking, -18. Like, I've seen all of the criticism that you guys give me, and I openly accept the criticism. Yes, I fuck up sometimes on that board. I know I screwed up, so I do my best to correct it. That's how you move forward. So if I were to give you any sort of pieces of advice of how to work in live sound, work in music, work in all this, first off, if you are a practicing musician and you know a little bit about gear and how sound works and how the physics work, you're already a step ahead of a lot of people. But even if you don't know shit and this looks very interesting to you and this is something you want to try to do, go find a local music venue. And what I mean by that is something like this at the bare minimum, where we have a dedicated stage box, monitors, gigs, house backline, the lot. Go to that venue, and don't go to a bar that sometimes has live music with that really shitty PA that your drummer has in their basement. Don't try to get a job there. Go to a music venue, go to your local venue, and ask the bar manager or ask the manager at the bar, or even find the sound guy. Talk to them and say, hey, I'm trying to get a job in live music. Can I intern for you? And if you ask me to intern for me, I will say, sure. A, what do you know? What's your experience? Can you run cable? Can you wind up cables? So one thing that I think every sound guy can emphasize on this, we hate going from the console to the stage, back to the console, back to the stage with cables, different connections during changeover. Because there's always that one band that comes in that has laptop backing tracks, an in-ear system, their own cabs, their own extra mics. They have 5 horn players for some reason, and they all need extra connections. We've all encountered these bands, so it is really annoying to have to go to the console, back on stage multiple times for changeover. So if I had an intern, I would have the intern go on stage. I would tell them where to patch cables, how to wind up cables, how to store stuff, and help do a little bit of the grunt work. And I suggest you do that for your local venue and for your local sound tech. Offer to intern, offer to help clean up the stage after a show, and if the sound guy's cool, they'll give you a chance. And over time, you'll learn the room, you'll learn the speakers, you'll learn the gear, you'll learn how they like their stuff organized, and eventually the sound guy will let you mix a band set. And eventually you'll get more practice, and you will be asked to do a show here. That's how all these recording studios back in the day stayed operational. Their interns became runners, their runners became night engineers, their night engineers became main engineers, producers, and that's how everyone evolved the way it used to be back in the day. If you don't want to go the music venue route, there is always a production company in your local area that is always looking for stagehands. Apply to be a stagehand, work corporate gigs. First off, you'll get a whole lot more money working corporate gigs than you will working at music venues. Summertime's coming up. Your town's most likely going to have a lot of outdoor concerts and parks, especially coming around 4th of July. Find the company that is doing that sound, offer to be a stagehand, see if they're hiring, and ask them if you can be a stagehand. You will be lifting up and putting down a lot of heavy crates. You will be doing a lot of cable running. You will be walking about 4 to 5 miles a day if on a light day. You will get firsthand experience setting up a system, putting the amps into place, routing the cables correctly, learning how to do the math of the ohmage of the amps, setting up everything correctly, and you will learn very quickly everything you need to know about doing sound. If you ask me personally, learning by doing is the absolute best way to learn how to do live audio and professional audio. Something that professors at school can never teach you. I got my start working with pro audio, working with Adobe Audition 3.0 on a really crappy Windows laptop with a couple of SM57s and whatever mic the bands I work with had in their basement. They weren't even 58s. They most of the time were the cheap Chinese knockoff 58s. So I learned working with whatever I got, and I polished a lot of turds, but polishing the turds isn't all bad. It made me learn the skills that I needed to work with pro audio when I actually had the chance to work with pro level musicians, pro level gear, and pro level studios. Doing the grunt work and recording bands in basements helped get me to where I am in 2 years' time doing it than I ever could at a 4-year university. And most of the universities have top-of-the-range gear with top-of-the-range equipment that you'll most likely not see that often in the real world. I'm not saying you can't get an education there, but if it were me and if I were to do it all over again, I would invest the $10,000 of going to a community college that I did in a year. I would take that $10,000 and invest it in studio gear and find bands locally that I can record for free, even if you don't ever release the audio. Just, I want bands to record for free so I can get practice. And that's what I think you guys should do too. But that's just me. That's just my personal opinion. You can do whatever you want, but that's just the way I see things. All right, guys, the DJs are about to arrive through the door. So I think I'll take this time to say thanks a lot for subscribing. 3,000 subs, that's just incredible. I love you guys for subscribing this quickly, this fast, and I am very happy to provide all this POV content for you guys. Got some pretty cool things lined up on the channel, so stay tuned, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.